Hello and welcome to the Wine Educate podcast. This is episode 10. We are going to be evaluating wine using the SAT. So this is the standard approach to tasting, and talk about why spitting is important. So Wine Educate podcast, this is the place where we explore WSET education, study tips, and practical advice for wine enthusiasts and professionals. All right, we made it to 10. If you're still with me, you're in the right place. This is Wine Nerd Haven. And if you have another wine nerd in your life who you think would enjoy this podcast, it would be great if you wouldn't mind sharing it with them. So I appreciate that. Promise not to bug you too much about those things. Maybe I'll do it again on episode 20. So what are we doing today? First of all, Happy New Year. I'm filming this a couple days after the new year. Really is one of my favorite times of the year. Just welcoming new members into our membership and signing up all the students for all these classes that are starting in the middle of January. So it's a fun time. And it's also a really good time to talk about the standard approach to tasting. So what is it? What is it? Well, it's not what it means in America. Okay, so the SAT in the States is something completely different. Obviously, we were all tortured by that in high school. Those are long behind me. But here we're talking about the SAT, meaning standard approach to tasting. Why is this important? Well, it was created in 1969. It's been around a while by the folks at the Wine and Spirits Education Trust. It's now used by over 100,000 students a year in 70 plus countries. So pretty cool. And is considered the gold standard for wine tasting. It provides a structured, objective framework for evaluating wine, ensuring consistency and clarity in observations. I did not write that. Obviously, that's pulled off the website, but it really does sum it up beautifully as to what it does. A few little disclaimers I'm going to throw in here. I'm recording this in January 2025. If, in the future, I'm on episode like 300 or something, and you're listening to this episode, some things might have changed. Every now and again, they do fine-tune, tweak the language, change a few things. So just be mindful of that. Some of the things I may speak about, you'd be like, hang on, Joanne, I don't see that on my SAT card. Don't panic. They might have changed it, and that's okay. Also, a word about tasting and tasting with your instructor, and this is really important for level 3. Wherever you are in the world, you need to calibrate your palate with your instructor's palate, okay? So I'll be talking about certain things. Don't raise your hand in class and try to pick a fight with your instructor. Say, well, Joanne said this. Okay, no. You're calibrating with your level 3 instructor, okay? So why is this important? Okay. Consistency matters. If you haven't listened to episode 9, take a pause, go back and listen. But if you have, you know that there's lots of variables that can happen here with our tasting, and it's good to be as consistent and on the same page as possible. That's why the SAT was created. Unfortunately, our mouths are not scientific instruments. I can't taste a wine and be like, well, that is 9.5 grams per liter versus. No, I can't do that. Unfortunately. So we need to have perimeters and structure in order to help us taste these things together. The SAT allows us to evaluate wine, think critically about its components, and make clear, objective observations. We are essentially playing wine detective. And I say this in class, and sometimes people give me a little weird look, but this is what I mean. Trust your tasting notes, trust yourself, write down what you observe, and then look at what you've got written down. Don't ever try to force a circle through a square, okay? We are not trying to say, I bet this is New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, and then writing our tasting note to fit into that description. Please don't do that, and don't get in the habit of doing that. Trust yourself. Think about the components. Write your tasting note, because then you're going to look at what you've written down and figure some things out. So what are we looking at? So by evaluating a wine, we're hoping to kind of hone in on what the grape variety could be and what climate that grape variety might have been grown in. Listen, you get a Syrah or Shiraz from Australia and a Syrah from the Northern Rhone. They are very different, right? They are very different with their aromas and flavors and structural components. The whole thing could be completely different. We're looking for winemaking techniques, all right? Is there oak there? Has the wine undergone things like malolactic conversion or spent time on the lees? And if you find yourself wandering into the pastry shop and writing down brioche and apple pie, chances are, those lees influences are creeping up. We're also using the SAT to assess quality and ageability. Is this a good wine? Is it very good? Is it outstanding? Does it have potential to age well? So this universal language is really handy. It enables us to compare our tasting notes with other tasters using the same parameters and improve our communication with our colleagues and clients and so on and so forth. It's also really pretty important that you develop good habits with the SAT, because although you are not going to be tested in level 1 and 2, you do have to taste one white wine and one red wine when you get to level 3. And if you practice all these things and write down your observations, although it may seem a little scary by the time you get there, you're going to do great. Okay? And let me tell you a little story. All right. So the scientists, they took a scan of some sommelier's brains, okay, to see what was going on there. And the result of the scan, you know what they found? That the sommelier's brain is exactly like our brain, okay? The difference is they've put in the work. They put in the reps, right? You can't dream up a six-pack. You've got to go to the gym and put in the work. So that's what you're going to be doing, right? And you too will get better, because just like everything, practice makes perfect. All right, so SAT in action. I'm going to break down the individual parts here. When I initially did the outline for this, I was going to do it all in one go, and I thought, no, they really don't deserve an 1.5 hour long podcast. I'm going to break it up into a few different podcasts because there's a lot to talk about, and I don't want to cram it all into one very long episode. So I'm going to be talking about appearance, nose, and palate, which are the components of the wine tasting. But I'm not going to be talking specifically about the differences between level 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to put that in a separate podcast because I think it's an important lesson to go through, how the complexity builds for the tasting notes. But we're just going to look at these basics, starting with appearance. Okay, you need your proper lighting, right? And you're looking at the clarity. Does it have little floaty things in it? Is it hazy? The color, right? Is it red? Is it white? Is it rosé? And the intensity. So is it a deep ruby? It is a pale lemon, and so on and so forth. Even by just looking at the appearance of a wine, you can infer some things. So this is kind of fun. So if you have a pale ruby wine, you might start thinking, is this from a thinner skinned red grape varietal like Pinot Noir, Gamay, those sort of things. If you look at a wine and you see that it's a rosé, you think, well, how is a rosé made? I'm already thinking about winemaking for this wine. Okay, after we've done recording our appearance, and here's a little tasting tip for you. If I have the option, and I've got maybe 6 wines in front of me, and we're tasting all the wines first, and then we're going to talk about them, I will look at the appearance of all the wines first and record that. Then I'll do the nose of all the wines and then record that. So I will do it in sections like that. It helps me better. That's just a suggestion, little tip for you. On the nose, we are evaluating the aroma intensity, right? Is it hard to detect the aroma? Is it jumping out of the glass, kind of smacking you in the face? There it is. Is it pronounced? And then the aroma characteristics. What do you smell? Are you getting lemon? Are you getting oak? Are you getting brioche? All those things. And while you write down your aromas, think about, is this a primary aroma? Is it a secondary or tertiary? I advise you to spend as much time on the nose as possible. Really exhaust it. Okay, really smell, really kind of think. Give your wine a chance to maybe even change a little bit in the glass, as we spoke about. If a wine warms up, it can release more of its aromas. And I say this because when you taste the wine, you're going to have a lot more things going on to pay attention to, and it can be overwhelming. So spend as much time as possible writing down the aromas on the nose. Okay, the palate. All right. I often start talking about wine and I go on, and then someone raises their hand and they say, well, Joanne, how do we taste? Because they see these videos and shows about Psalms and they look like they're really trying to get the old wine up in the gums, right? It's called the Psalm swish. I don't know if that's an official term. That's what I'm calling it. And it can be a little goofy. That's certainly not how you're on a date. You don't want anyone to drink wine like that. It's a bit off-putting. But why is it useful? They are moving the wine all around their mouth to all the different parts of the mouth, right? The roof of the mouth, the gums, the side of the tongues, all side of the tongue, all of the spots, because you taste these different structural components in different parts of your mouth. Okay, so that's why they're doing the Psalm swish. All right, so feel free, do your own Psalm swish, go crazy. All right, flavor intensity and characteristics. So are you getting the same flavors on the palate as you did on the nose? I would say mostly they do match up. You are going to get quite similar things. However, because your mouth is warm, right? It's going to warm up that wine and you may get a few different things. And again, we're talking about intensity. Was it pronounced? Is it medium? And so on and so forth. We're also looking for length after we do the assessment. Length is my definition, or the book's definition, the persistence of multiple pleasurable flavors. Okay? If you have a wine that's really heavily oaked and all you're getting is vanilla for days, that's not really a long finish, is it? But if you get yellow apple and clove and honey and all these other things, they just stay on the palate, then you've got a wine with length. Structural components. All right, I am going to talk about these, but I'm going to talk about each one in further detail. I'm going to give each one its own little spotlight because they deserve it. Starting with sweetness, all right? This is probably the one we're the most familiar with. I certainly do tend to eat quite a few sweet things. There's lots of sweetness in our available in our daily diets, right? Even ketchup and things like that have plenty of sugar added to them. You feel sweetness on the tip of your tongue, okay? And doing a sweetness exercise like we do in level 1 is really fun. Tasting something that's dry, medium, and then sweet, and seeing the difference for that. Acidity. You all know how I love to talk about acidity. Acidity is the tingling sensation on the sides of your tongue and the salivary glands. If you get a wine, let's talk about it. Which one? New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. Is your mouth watering yet? What if I say Granny Smith apple? Not yet. How about if I say Sour Patch Kids? Yes. My children, they're a bit older now, but they used to love to torture Mom by making me eat a Sour Patch Kid and watching me make the face. And actually, The main ingredient in Sour Patch Kids is malic acid, which, if a wine hasn't gone through malolactic conversion, it's loaded with that. So it's very good similarity to figure out acidity and where you're tasting it. Tannin. Okay. I do find that tannin is so hard to describe. I often come up with some stories that they don't work. So if you're in class with me and I come up with a new story, be like, Joanne, that one didn't work either. Essentially, it is a drying or astringent sensation on your gums and teeth. Okay, what does that mean? Well, my family's British, come from a long line of tea drinkers. So if you imagine you make yourself a cup of tea and the phone rings, I know we all have cell phones now, and you leave your cup of tea and that tea bag, you leave it in there for like 15 minutes and you come back and you're like, oh, this is not drinkable. It's because there's too much tannin. Okay, so maybe just take a sip, suffer slightly for science and education and be like, yes, that is tannin. I feel all the drying sensations. Okay, alcohol felt as warmth in the back of your throat. I call it dragon's breath. Often after you finish having a sip of something that's like 15% alcohol and then you kind of breathe out, you feel like you're a dragon breathing out fire. I think you all kind of maybe know what that sensation means. Some of you pick it up on your nose before you even taste it, okay? It's like a singeing in the nasal passage. How pleasant. But it's a real thing. And if you want to kind of practice with this a little bit, taste something that's got a higher ABV, right? Alcohol by volume. So maybe a port or a sherry or I don't know, whatever's handy. You don't have to drink it all. Just pour some in the glass, have a smell, be like, oh, I feel it in my nostrils. Maybe have a tiny taste. See if you get that warming heat, that sensation, and start paying attention to that when you have other wines. Okay, body. Body is perceived as the weight or texture of a wine. Examples of wines with a light body, maybe Italian Pinot Grigio, and wines with full bodied, maybe like an Australian Shiraz. Students get a little nervous when it comes to the body of a wine. They're like, how will I know? Well, here's a little like cheat sheet for you, okay? If a wine is high in sugar, think Sauterne, it's full bodied. If a wine is high in alcohol, full bodied. And if a wine is high in tannin, also leaning towards the full bodied. So those are your three really good indicators to help you decide if something is full bodied or not. Okay. All right. And then we have the conclusion part. So where we assess the quality and readiness for drinking. Here we're using an assessment called BLIC. That's the acronym. Again, I'm going to give Blick his old episode just to itself, so we can talk about that separately. Readiness for drinking. What does that mean? Is it past its prime? Is it drink now, not suitable for aging? Is it drink now, suitable for further aging? And we assess the readiness for drinking based upon our assessment on Blick. So for another day. Okay, yay. Now we get to this. I've been wanting to talk about this for ever since I started this podcast, but I thought you can't start off with spitting on the first couple episodes, which will just scare everybody away. So here I am. Why spitting is important, okay? I know this is gross, and you're like, Joanne, I paid for this wine. Why am I going to spit it out? That doesn't make any sense. I paid for this class. I want to spit it out. Okay, totally understand. And for level 1, look, go for it. It's a level 1 class. It's usually an all-day class. It's fun. I give you a spit cup in every class, and I won't really get on you about spitting until we get to level 3. And then I'm gonna get a bit mom on the whole thing. Okay. But it's good to get into the practice of spitting if you really want to taste a lot of things. It's crucial for evaluating multiple wines without overconsumption. Even when you taste a wine and spit it out, you still get a little bit of the alcohol residue in your mouth. Your mouth still absorbs a little bit of it. So it's not 100% escapable. But let me tell you, if you're going to a trade tasting and you don't have a plan for spitting, oh boy, you're going to be in trouble. I mean, I have been there, I have to say, and I hear it from my students like, oh, I went to the trade tasting and after wine 10, all my notes just had hearts and smiley faces and I don't really remember what I tasted. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. So trade tastings they're completely overwhelming, but you have to have a plan, and a part of that plan is spitting. Now, let me state for the record that even before COVID, I was not a fan of the shared spit bucket. Gross, people, okay? There's no worse horror in life than you having to talk to someone and you spit in the spit bucket and then it splashes back a little bit. I know, you're like, too much, Joanne, TMI. It happens, it's gross. Bring your own spit cup, okay? I live in New Orleans. Everyone's got a gajillion Mardi Gras cups in their house. You can get yourself a little paper cup. If you're at this trade taste and you're like, I forgot, chances are it's in a hotel or a restaurant. They've got some sort of paper cup. You can be like, please, can I have it? So you can taste and you can spit into your own cup, and then you can pour that cup out into the gross group share spit bucket of nightmares. Okay? Okay. All right. Spitting. Don't feel self-conscious, okay? It is standard practice among professionals, all right? And if you're going to a friend's house and they've got a wine tasting set up, you've got your own spit cup, you're doing your thing. They may give you a few raised eyebrows, but you want to taste the wines and you do you, okay? And maybe just practice at home. And here's the thing, okay? You don't have to spit out the whole bottle, all right? Start your tasting, do your tasting note, and then you can drink the bottle that night, right? You don't have to waste all this wine. Another big reason why you need to get in the practice of doing this is for level 3. In level 3, you have 2 wines to taste as part of your exam. You have your half-hour tasting exam, a tiny break, and then your 2-hour theory exam. Oh boy. Don't drink the wine, okay? Spit the wine out. You need all things in your favor for that theory exam, and you don't need to have a good buzz going. Okay, please don't. I know you might be nervous, but that's not, it's not the way to handle it. Okay, great. I hope that was useful. So the SAT, it provides a structured, systematic approach to wine tasting that grows in complexity across the WSET levels. I'm going to touch upon that, and I'm going to use a specific wine and show how the complexity grows with levels 1, 2, and 3. I also take a closer look at good old Blick. So, if you have not done so already, please consider signing up for the Wine Educate newsletter. I'm going to start including things in that newsletter that I don't put anywhere else. I'm a tad bit frustrated with the Instagram algorithm. I like my newsletter, so I'm going to show more love to my newsletter and start releasing more study games, tips, things like that. Really practical, useful things that you guys have been asking for. Again, if you have a wine nerd friend and would like to share this with them, I would very much appreciate it. And if you're looking into future classes, we're here with us at Wine Educate. Check us out, wineeducate.com. All right, everybody. Thanks so much. I will see you all next week.